It's 3 in the morning, and the baby is crying again. You're up before you're even awake. Your feet find the cold floor in the dark. You've done this so many times that your body moves on its own now, standing, swaying, shushing, bouncing a small, warm weight that will not settle. The house is silent. Everyone else is asleep or behind their own walls somewhere across the city. It is just you. For almost the entire history of your species, this exact moment, one parent, alone, in the dark, with a crying child, would have been almost impossible. Not because babies didn't cry, they always have, but because the being alone was the impossible part. For hundreds of thousands of years, no mother raised a child entirely by herself. She was never asked to. The idea would have made no sense to anyone alive. Now it's just you, one adult, maybe two, trading shifts at the edge of your own exhaustion, a closed door, a quiet, dark house, and a kind of tired that a full night of sleep, if you ever got one, still wouldn't fix. You love this child more than your own life, and still, some nights, you feel like you are going under. Here's what almost no one tells you. The reason modern parenting can feel impossible is not that you are weak. It is not that your child is too much or that you are doing it wrong. It is that you are missing something that every parent before you simply had, and once you see what it is, you will not be able to unsee it. So let's go back, all the way back. Picture a small band of people, 30, maybe 40 of them, somewhere warm and open, all of them knowing each other their entire lives. There are no strangers here. There is no front door to close. A child born into this group is not born to one woman and her exhaustion. The child is born into a web of hands. This is the part we have forgotten, and it has a name. Anthropologists call our species a cooperative breeder. That sounds technical, so here's what it actually means. In a cooperative breeder, the mother is not the only one who cares for her young. Others feed them. Others carry them, watch them, hold them through the night. Aunts, grandmothers, older siblings, trusted friends. The whole group shares the work of keeping a child alive. There's even a word for all those other helpers, alloparents. Allo simply means other, so other parents. Every pair of hands that isn't the mother's. Most mammals do nothing like this. A mother bear raises her cubs alone and drives off anything that comes near. But you are not a bear. You are something stranger and softer. You belong to a small handful of species that raise their young together, on purpose, as a team. The anthropologist Sarah Blaffer-Hrdy spent her career on this idea. In her work on what she called mothers and others, she argued that humans could never have survived any other way. Our babies are too expensive.
They are born helpless. They stay helpless for years, and they burn enormous amounts of energy growing those big, hungry brains. No single human, however devoted, could carry that cost alone. We survived because we never had to. So who helped? Start with the grandmothers. We'll come back to them because they matter more than you think. Among the Hadza, a people in Tanzania who still forage for much of their food, researchers noticed something they did not expect. The hardest workers in camp were often not the young mothers. They were the older women, the grandmothers. Out every day, digging deep for tubers, hauling food back to camp, not for themselves, but for their daughters' children. The researcher Kristen Hawkes and her colleagues gave this a name, the grandmother hypothesis. The idea is simple and a little staggering. A grandmother who is no longer having children of her own can pour all of her energy into the children who already exist. She feeds them. She frees their mother to rest, or to recover, or to have another child sooner. And children with a grandmother close by tended to do better. Now think about what that quietly implies. Human women often live for decades after they can no longer bear children, something genuinely rare in the animal world. And one reason may simply be that grandmothers were that useful. Your long life might be, in part, a gift handed down by grandmothers who refused to stop helping. But it was never only the grandmothers. Among the Aka, a forest people in Central Africa, the anthropologist Barry Hewlett documented something that stunned a lot of readers. Aka fathers are deeply, physically involved with their babies, holding them, soothing them, staying close to them through much of the day and night. The infant is almost never far from someone's arms, and that someone is not always the mother. It might be the father, an aunt, an older cousin, a friend. A young child in these groups is passed from hand to hand from the day it is born. By the time it can walk, it has been held by dozens of different people. It learns in its very body that the world is full of arms that will catch it. So let's reconstruct an ordinary morning. The sun comes up over the camp. A mother wakes with her baby already warm against her, but she is not the only one stirring. Her own mother is up, reaching for her digging stick. An older daughter scoops the baby onto her hip without being asked. By mid-morning, the mother is out foraging with the other women, her hands free, while her child dozes against an ant back in camp. The baby fusses, someone answers. Always, someone answers.
Among the Kung San of southern Africa, researchers like Melvin Connor described infants kept in almost constant contact, passed between caregivers, soothed within seconds, rarely left to cry alone for long. The child learns one thing before it can even speak. It is held. It is safe. There are many. Now hold that picture next to your own life. You bring a newborn home to a quiet apartment. The visitors come for a week, maybe 2, and then the cards stop, and the meals stop, and the door closes. And it is you. You and a baby, and the long hours nobody warns you about. The 3 a.m. feed. The afternoon that stretches out like an ocean. The strange, heavy loneliness of being needed every single second by someone who cannot yet say your name. You are not built for this, not because you are fragile, because no human was. Here is the twist, and it is a hard one. The way most of us parent today, 1 or 2 adults, alone, behind a closed door, is not the natural human way. It is one of the most unusual parenting arrangements our species has ever attempted. For almost all of our history, the load that now rests on 1 or 2 sets of shoulders was spread across a whole group. What you are attempting by yourself, your ancestors would have instantly recognized as the work of many people. We even kept a saying about the old way: it takes a village to raise a child. We repeat it like a soft, sweet proverb, but it was never just a proverb. It was a description, a plain, factual account of how human children were actually raised for tens of thousands of years in nearly every corner of the world. The village was not a nice idea, it was the machinery. And somewhere along the way, through cities, through walls, through moving far from the people who share our blood, the machinery quietly came apart. We kept the child. We lost the village. Notice what that does to the word alone. For your ancestors, being a parent and being alone were almost opposites. To have a child was to be surrounded, to be pulled into the very center of the group, not pushed out to its lonely edge. Somehow, we reversed it. We took the most connected act a human can perform, making and raising a new person, and turned it into one of the loneliest. So if you feel like you are failing, hear this carefully. You are not failing. You are doing, with one body, the work that evolution divided among many. The exhaustion you feel is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something is missing around you. That is a different thing entirely, and it matters more than almost anything else you will ever be told about being a parent. This is not a reason to feel doomed. It is a reason to feel forgiven. And maybe, quietly, it is a set of instructions. Because a village can be rebuilt. Not the way it once was, but in pieces.
The friend who takes the baby for an hour so you can finally sleep. The grandparent who comes to stay. The other tired parent at the park who becomes, slowly, someone you trust. None of that is weakness. None of it is cheating. It is the oldest, most human thing you can possibly do. You are not failing the test by asking for hands. The hands were always supposed to be there. So the next time it is 3 in the morning and the baby is crying and the house is dark and silent and it feels like the entire weight of a small life is resting on you alone, remember this. You were never meant to carry it alone. No one before you ever did. The ache you feel in that dark room is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that you are human, built like every parent before you for a circle of hands that the modern world simply forgot to hand you. The crying will pass, the night will end, and you are allowed to go find your village again.